In 1985, a shocking crime stunned California and the entire nation. A 14-year-old girl named Cinnamon Brown crept into her stepmother's bedroom in the early morning hours and pulled the trigger twice. Her stepmother, Linda Brown, only 23 years old, was left dying in her bed. But this was no simple tale of teenage rage. Behind the killing was a far more sinister truth. Cinnamon's own father had ordered the murder, all so he could collect life insurance money and marry his teenage sister-in-law. The night of the murder, on March 19, 1985, the plan went into motion. David Brown, the family patriarch, roused Cinnamon and his teenage lover, Patti Bailey, Linda's younger sister, telling him, "Girls, it has to be done tonight." He handed Cinnamon a revolver, then slipped out of the house to stage an alibi at a nearby store. Back inside, Patti held baby Crystal as Cinnamon stood over her sleeping stepmother. Using a pillow as a silencer, Cinnamon fired once into Linda's abdomen. When Linda stirred in pain, Cinnamon pulled the trigger again, killing her. Following her father's instructions, Cinnamon swallowed a cocktail of pills, staggered outside, and collapsed in the backyard doghouse. In her hand was a ribbon-tied note. "Dear God, please forgive me. I didn't mean to hurt her." When police arrived, they found Linda dead in bed, and Cinnamon near death from the pills. She confessed immediately, convinced her father's promise was true, that because of her age, she wouldn't face serious punishment. A convicted child. In 1986, Cinnamon Brown, barely a teenager, was sentenced to 27 years to life for murder. Her father wept in court, claiming he was torn apart by the endless arguments between his wife and daughter. To the outside world, it seemed like a tragic family breakdown had ended in violence. But David Brown's tears were fake. He had already begun cashing in on Linda's life insurance policies, worth more than $842,000, and living comfortably with Patti, his teenage lover. David's web of lies. David Brown had spent years manipulating both Cinnamon and Patti. He told them Linda was plotting to kill him, that the only way to save him was to murder her first. To Cinnamon, he whispered words of loyalty. "If you loved me, you'd do this for me." He reassured her that she'd never go to jail, only to a hospital. To Patti, the manipulation was even darker. Raised in poverty and abused in her childhood, Patti had been groomed by David since she was just 11 years old. By 17, she believed she loved him, and saw Linda as the only obstacle to marrying him. Together, the three plotted Linda's murder. But only Cinnamon pulled the trigger. The truth surfaces. In prison, Cinnamon's loyalty to her father began to crumble. He rarely visited, and she slowly realized she had been abandoned. Then came the breaking point. She learned he had married Patti in secret and had another child with her. Enraged and betrayed, Cinnamon began working with investigators. In 1988, she agreed to wear a hidden wire during prison visits. On tape, David Brown incriminated himself, admitting he had mixed Cinnamon's drug cocktail the night of the murder and even suggesting ways to frame Patti to take the blame. Within weeks, David and Patti were arrested. Patti chose to cooperate with prosecutors, testifying against David. He, in turn, plotted yet another crime from jail, offering money to have Patti and even district attorneys murdered. But that plan failed when his cellmate exposed him. Justice at last. At his 1990 trial, both Cinnamon and Patti testified that David Brown was the true mastermind behind Linda's murder. The jury agreed. David was sentenced to life in prison without parole, where he remained until his death in 2014. Patti, tried in juvenile court, received a lesser sentence for her role. Cinnamon, meanwhile, finally gained her freedom. After serving 7 years, she was paroled in 1992. In prison, she earned her high school diploma and an associate's degree. In court, she explained why she had done it. "I loved him. I didn't want to lose my father. Why would he tell me to do something that wasn't right?" A tragic legacy. The case of Cinnamon Brown is more than just a murder story. It is a chilling example of how manipulation can twist innocence into tragedy. Cinnamon was both a killer and a victim, a child weaponized by her own father's greed, lust, and deceit. Linda Brown lost her life. Patti lost her freedom, and Cinnamon lost her childhood, paying for her father's crime before finally regaining her voice. It remains one of the darkest family crimes in American history, and a reminder that sometimes the greatest danger doesn't come from strangers in the night, but from the people we trust most.